by and large, the media does a really poor job of covering complex issues. So Joe Biden came out and said, I'm canceling all your student loan debt. He's not actually canceling it. He's just taking it on for taxpayers. He's just adding $500 billion plus in taxpayer responsibilities to an already inflation-addled economy. And he's doing it without congressional authority to do it. So nothing is being canceled. We're basically just giving away money to rich people, frankly, who had the opportunity already to go to college and go to grad school. And we're randomly selecting a small cohort of people that have taken out loans and giving them a benefit for it. I took out loans. I paid off all of my student loans. I went to a college that was not as highly regarded, George Washington University, because they gave me a scholarship and I was going to be able to graduate in 3 years than more highly rated colleges that I got into, because those colleges were going to cost me substantially more money. And I didn't want to have to take out that added financial detriment. A lot of people did that. Many of you watching this right now may have gone to a state university because it was much cheaper than a private university that you also got in because you didn't want to take out the loans. You didn't want to take on the financial responsibilities. Some of you out there are parents right now, grandparents. You may have paid for your kids' schooling so that they didn't have to take out loans. You may have even saved up substantial amounts of money, foregone vacations, new cars, better houses, so that you had the resources to be able to support your kids' higher education needs. Meanwhile, other people spent all their money, didn't in any way save for their kids' college, and now they're just going to wipe out that student loan. A lot of you out there may have gotten jobs. You may have worked 2 or 3 different jobs to pay for your college education or your grad school education, so you didn't have to take out loans. And now the more irresponsible among us are doing that. But the bigger issue here than the morality and the fairness associated with making mostly poorer people, people who decided to go work at FedEx or become maintenance men or plumbers or any number of jobs that you can go into at 18, went into the military. All of these people out there made the choice to go into working at 18 years old because they didn't think college made sense. And now you're going to make them take on the burden of the comparatively wealthy who decided to go to college and grad school. Doesn't make any sense. That's the actual ethics of this, the equality of this, the equity, since Democrats used to love to use that word of this. But the big issue here is Joe Biden doesn't have the constitutional authority to do this. Nancy Pelosi's already said it. You've got senators coming out and saying they think it's a poor choice. Democrat senators, Democrat congresspeople, letting you know that this plan would not pass Congress. That right now, even though Democrats control the House and the Senate, they couldn't pass this $500 billion plus student loan forgiveness. And it's $500 billion right now, but in 10 years, they're going to want to forgive more. So this actually makes the entire student loan process worse, okay? So as you break all this down, I want you to think about an easy analogy. Joe Biden doesn't have the authority to do this. And so he is stepping out and he is arguing, I'm going to forgive over $500 billion in student loans. And in the process, he's making himself Michael Scott. Do you remember the great Office episode, Tots, Scott's Tots, where Michael Scott, this Office, unbelievably great television show. Michael Scott went into the elementary school classroom and told all the kids that he was going to pay for their college. And now those kids were getting old enough to need college, and he had to go back to them and say, actually, I don't have the money to be able to do this. Joe Biden is Michael Scott in Scott's Tots. He's trying to cancel all of this, all of these costs, all of these student loans without having the constitutional authority to be able to do it. And the way this is going to play out, I told you this yesterday, it's going to go to Congress. It's going to go into the courts. The courts are going to overturn it. And then Joe Biden is going to blame the Supreme Court and the other courts for overturning this and use it as a reason, either he or whoever is running as a Democrat in 2024, to attack the Supreme Court for being illegitimate and going against the will of the people. You know it. I know it. We all know that it is coming. And so I just want to prepare you for this process. Joe Biden does not have constitutional authority to undertake this act. It's a great question from Jackie Heinrich at Fox News. I just shared it on my Twitter account. She said, wait a minute. In the White House briefing, Karine Jean-Pierre, you told the country that the reason why Title 42 was being rescinded at the border was because the COVID emergency was over. But you are simultaneously citing the COVID emergency as your justification for why you are canceling over $500 billion in student debt. And what I would say is this is the exact same situation nearly as when the CDC tried to extend the eviction moratorium. When the Congress would not have authorized this, the president, Biden, avoided taking it to Congress and decided to try to do it through executive order, and then the court struck it down. That is what is going to happen with this student loan relief idea as well.